Now, when you're in the air, one condition that can potentially be a problem is structural icing forming on the aircraft. Now, for structural icing to form, one condition you absolutely have to have, and that is the aircraft has to be in visible moisture. Visible moisture comes in all kinds of different forms. It could be clouds. If you're inside a cloud and the temperature is right, structural icing is a possibility. But the visible moisture could also be snow, or it could be freezing rain. Now, freezing rain, the circumstances where you're going to get freezing rain are where you have a warm front moving through, you've got that warm air with a lot of moisture in it and rain falling out of it, falling down into a colder air mass. And as the air falls into that colder air, it gets kind of semi-frozen, becomes an area of freezing rain, and as it keeps on falling in that cold air, it gets more frozen and becomes ice pellets. Freezing rain is where you have the highest accumulation rate of aircraft structural ice. That's the most dangerous condition for structural ice to form on an aircraft. Now let's assume that you're standing on the ground down at an airport and you see bouncing around down on the ramp ice pellets. What do those ice pellets bouncing around tell you? That means that you have freezing rain at a higher altitude, because as the freezing rain keeps on falling and gets into colder air longer, it forms ice pellets, and if they reach you at the surface, it means that there is a layer up above you somewhere of freezing rain at a higher altitude. Let's talk about how frost forms. Frost forms from the temperature of the collecting surface, in this case the aircraft, being at or below the dew point of the air, and the dew point has to be below freezing. That's a key point, the dew point being below freezing, because if the dew point is above freezing, when the moisture comes out of the air, it'll go to the liquid state and simply form dew, liquid water on the aircraft. It's when the dew point is below freezing and the temperature of the air gets down to the temperature of the aircraft, then below the dew point, that's when you get frost forming on an aircraft, and that can really impact the flight characteristics of the aircraft, destroy the airflow, so you want to make sure you get rid of all of it before you go flying.